got everybody? All right, well, it's a great week. Obviously, it began on Monday night with a great win for Indiana, and that was a wonderful way to start the week. And then very productive 3 days in the legislature. Obviously, a pretty good-sized calendar today, lots of committee meetings, and we recognize we got the big deadline next week on House bills getting out of the House and working diligently to get that done. So with that, happy to take questions.
Mr. Speaker, 50 to 70 days left over. What's going to be the big heavy lifting you guys to do before you can get out of here?
I mean, I think every bill that is in the field feels like there's not a whole lot of outside conversations around other bills, or other topics. So I just think we're just working through the process of bills, at least certainly on our side.
Representative Delaney has filed a resolution calling on you to form an investigative committee to look into the IEDC's business practices. Have you spoken to him about that? Do you plan to do so?
Well, look, we'll handle the resolution like we'd handle any other resolution. It'll go through committee. I think the IEDC had a big audit done. I think there were recommendations that were made off of that audit. They were being implemented by the governor. I think at some point, we have to continue to focus on having IEDC attract businesses to our state and do it the right way. And I think that's what's being done. And I have a lot of confidence in the IEDC, but it's an incredibly important agency. I think we went through that forensic audit. Corrections were taken where needed. I don't think it was nearly as exciting as I think a lot of people thought that audit was going to be. And IEDC has done an amazing job for us over recent years, and we want to continue to support them.
What committee would you send that to?
We'll have to take a look at it, but probably Chairman Miller's committee.
Do you think it would have enough time to make it through, given the deadlines period?
No.
Should the legislature look a little deeper, though? I mean, Delaney's point was that he believes that audit raised the possibility there was at least a possibility for corruption. It did not go deep enough into whether it actually occurred.
Again, that audit was done in a very systemic way. It came out with a comprehensive report. I think it wasn't as exciting as some people maybe were hoping it would be. And that the fact of the matter is that, again, we need to move forward. We need to continue to have IEDC developing, doing what they do best, which is attracting businesses and investment in Indiana.
To your knowledge, has a select committee with that kind of investigative power been formed by the House in recent years or ever?
I can't remember, to be honest with you, if it has.
The Senate is moving ahead with the exemptions for taxes on overtime and tips. Is that something that you think is appropriate to do? And why would that not be opening the budget as opposed to reversing some of the budget cuts from last year?
Yeah, so I want to be fair. I have not focused on any Senate bills yet. I've heard about that. I certainly understand the argument, and I think I'm very sympathetic to it. That those are, so again, dealing with the affordability issue, helping folks that oftentimes are hardest working Hoosiers. I think we'll take a look at it when it gets over here.
Is there appetite in the House to create a stadium authority to potentially help the Chicago Bears move?
Yes, and I think we will, when that bill comes over, we'll work closely with all the stakeholders and see what we can do on that.
Does the fact that Indiana's legislative session ends before the bulk of Illinois' session put us behind the eight ball on that?
No, I think if we're going to move this legislation, it would be with a commitment that when we passed it, that the deal's done. So that's the expectation.
Mr. Speaker, there's been some talk in the Chicago area about basically how the Bears are basically using Indiana as a foil. Like, hey, if you guys don't do it, we'll go to Indiana, have a nice day. They have no intention of really coming to Indiana. They just basically want to use you guys as a bargaining chip.
Look, I mean, we've had conversations for a while now. This does not just happen. And I think rightfully so, the Chicago Bears wanted to be in Chicago. And wanted to be in the state of Illinois. And as those conversations progressed, I think they realized there was potentially a better option just a few miles in, but a whole lot of differences between the business environment between Illinois and Indiana. So look, I believe they are sincere in being very, very serious about this. I think we're sincere in trying to figure out how to, get this done. And I will let people come to whatever assumptions they want about whether we're being leveraged or not. I think, if somebody's had the opportunity to be part of this process, I just say I trust them at their word. And again, I think they made every effort they could, reasonable effort they could in Illinois, and it doesn't appear like that's been worked out. So, we'd love to welcome in Indiana, just like we would any business, but particularly a business that, an entity that has a very high profile and lots of opportunity for a portion of our state. We'd love to make a big investment.
The online lottery bill obviously has been pulled.
Yeah.
Why did that not have enough support?
I just think there wasn't broad enough support within the caucus, and I think a whole host of reasons why, but just didn't feel like it was the right time this year. I thought Chairman Manning handled the bill very, very well, brought it forward for a discussion, and just it wasn't a lot of support for it.
What about the lost revenue? That could have been increased revenue from that process.
Well, I will always say, Tom, and I'm a broken record on this, that gaming policy shouldn't be done for the sake of revenue. It should be done because you think it's the right public policy. And we've never chased revenue in the past. I think it would be a mistake to do it now. And I think members just had concerns about, doing it at this time.
Is that different from the relocating?
I think it is. I think, the difference in the relocation is that we're talking about a huge economic impact that will have investment impact. Again, I'm a broken record on this topic, and we're probably going to talk a lot about it in the next couple of weeks, or potentially, is that I've always looked at gaming policy should be, how does it create economic development for communities and for the state of Indiana? And I think what Chairman Manning did a great job, Representative Snow's bill, is, look, you're talking about a major, hundreds of millions of dollars economic impact in Northeast Indiana. And I think that's different than somebody playing on their phone.
Given that your caucus has seen different iterations of that iLottery bill in recent years and come to the same conclusion, do you think that matter is kind of settled for the time being?
Oh, we'll meet again next year, and there'll be a different topic conversation. There's always interesting bills where you have people. It doesn't go far enough. It goes too far. Obviously, there are people that would love the iGaming discussions taking place here. So it's an interesting topic. I imagine it will be around as long as we're meeting.
So the Stadium Authority bill, it's going to would give the power to lease or to acquire land and then construct some kind of stadium. How can the state afford to do that, and what are the mechanisms that aren't opening the budget?
Yeah, again, we're working through that. I respect that Senator Mishler's got that bill on their side. Did it pass out of probes today? I'm making this assumption it did. But Senator Mitchell's got it on that side. We're working through the dollars and cents. So it'd be funded the same way that we fund the Lucas Oil Stadium and those types of things. And we'll have to work through any financial implications. And we're not going to open up the budget for that this year. We would make to get this deal done. I think there are ways we could bridge that to the 2027 session.
Expect anything on data centers? Anything on data centers between now and when you guys adjourn?
I mean, what way?
Either tax incentives, zoning regulations. A lot of folks are complaining about data centers, but everybody loves the data, but nobody wants the data center in their neighborhood.
Well, look, I think we're trying to find that right mix. And look, first and foremost, it's a national security issue. I'd rather have our data housed in the United States than in China. Second of all, if it's going to be housed and there's going to be billions and tens of billions of dollars in investment, I prefer that investment be in Indiana than in other states. So, we're trying to work with the local communities to figure out the right place on that. I will say that there's a lot of misinformation. I mean, as I've noted in my org day speech and other things, like if you want to lower utility costs, mega users is a great way to do that. You want to reduce your property taxes, large scale, billions of dollars in investment and increase evaluation and assess valuation will do that. So I think there's a lot of benefits to local communities to have these projects. I would just encourage everyone to look at both the benefits and the concerns.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.